Two school friends hacked their own school. One of them did it just to sit next to girls in class. The other one dropped out of Harvard. Together, they built the world's biggest software company. This is the real story of how Microsoft began. 1968, Seattle, Washington. Lakeside School, a private all-boys school where students wore jackets and ties and called their teachers master. The school's Mothers Club held a rummage sale and used the money to buy one computer terminal for the students. Just one. And it cost $40 an hour to use. Two boys became obsessed with it. Bill Gates was in 8th grade. Paul Allen was 2 years ahead of him. They had never spoken before. The computer brought them together. Gates wrote his very first program on that machine, a simple tic-tac-toe game. He was 13 years old. He later said he was so fascinated by it because it always did exactly what you told it to do. No questions. No attitude. Just pure logic. For a kid who struggled to connect with people, this machine made perfect sense to him. When the school's computer budget ran out, Gates and Allen found another computer system nearby owned by a company called Computer Center Corporation. They started spending every spare hour on it. Then they found bugs in the system and exploited them to get free computer time. The company caught them and banned all of them for the entire summer. But instead of punishing them, the company hired them. They asked Gates and Allen to find more bugs and fix vulnerabilities. In return, unlimited free computer time. Gates was 14 years old, getting paid in computer access to hack a company's systems. Then came the stunt that nobody talks about. A teacher at Lakeside asked Gates to help automate the school's class scheduling system, the software that decided which student went into which class. Gates built it. And somewhere inside that code, he quietly made sure he ended up in classes where he was the only boy surrounded by girls. He later admitted this in a BBC interview. He said it didn't help much, he still couldn't talk to them. But the hack worked perfectly. By age 17, Gates and Allen had already started their first company, Trafo Data. They built a small computer to analyze traffic patterns and tried to sell it to the Washington state government. The day of their first and only demo, the machine didn't work. The client sat there and watched it fail in real time. The company eventually lost money and shut down. But what they learned building it, how microprocessors worked, how to write software from scratch, that knowledge would become the foundation of everything that came next. Gates went to Harvard in 1973. One of the best universities in the world. His parents were proud. His future looked set. And then in January 1975, Paul Allen walked into his dorm room holding a magazine. It was the cover of Popular Electronics. On it was the Altair 8800, the world's first personal microcomputer. Allen looked at Gates and said, "This is it. This is the moment." If they didn't act now, someone else would write the software for this machine and the window would close forever. Gates agreed. But there was a problem. They had no software written. They didn't even own an Altair. They had nothing. Gates called the manufacturer, a company called MITS in Albuquerque, New Mexico. He told them he and his partner had already built a working BASIC interpreter for the Altair and wanted to demo it. This was a lie. They had written nothing. He just wanted to see if MITS was interested before spending months building something nobody wanted. MITS said yes. "Come show us." Gates and Allen now had 8 weeks to write, from scratch, software for a computer they had never touched, using technical specs from a magazine. They worked almost every hour they were awake. Allen even wrote a simulator on another computer so they could test the Altair software without actually having the machine. The day of the demo, Allen flew to Albuquerque. Gates stayed back. This was the first time the real software would run on a real Altair. If it crashed, it was over. It didn't crash. It worked on the very first try. MITS agreed to distribute the software. Allen moved to Albuquerque immediately. Gates dropped out of Harvard. He told his parents he could always go back if things didn't work out. On April 4, 1975, Bill Gates and Paul Allen officially founded Microsoft. Gates was 19 years old. Their first year, total revenue was $16,005. Then came the deal that changed everything. In 1980, IBM, the biggest technology company in the world at the time, came to Microsoft. They needed an operating system for their first personal computer. Microsoft didn't have one. But Gates told them yes anyway. He then went and bought an existing operating system from another company for $50,000, modified it, renamed it MS-DOS, and licensed it to IBM. The critical move, instead of selling it outright, he kept the rights. That decision alone made Microsoft billions. IBM's PCs sold in massive numbers. MS-DOS came with every single one. Suddenly, Microsoft's software was on computers everywhere. By the late 1980s, Microsoft was the largest personal computer software company in the world. In 1986, Microsoft went public. The stock price opened at $21. By the next year, 31-year-old Bill Gates became the youngest self-made billionaire in history at the time. The kid who hacked his school's scheduling system to sit next to girls. The kid whose first company failed its only demo. The kid who lied to a manufacturer about software he hadn't written yet had just changed the entire world. Today Microsoft is worth over $3 trillion. Windows runs on over 1 billion computers. And it all started with 2 teenage boys in one computer terminal that cost $40 an hour to use. That's the real story of how Microsoft began. No extra drama. Just what actually happened. If you want to know how the world's biggest names really started, this is the channel. Next up, a 65-year-old man, broke and sleeping in his car, who went on to build one of the most recognizable food brands on the planet.